Hi and welcome. My name is Stephen and this is Two Fish Tarot. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I've started this little journey through life series that I'd like to call it. I don't know how many episodes it's going to be, but I want to go through how I read the tarot and how you shouldn't be afraid of learning how to read the tarot. So the purpose of this course is to give a basic understanding on how I personally read the tarot, and try and take the fear out of learning the tarot, and to kind of just make the point that simpler, is better. The thing about tarot, it is such a complex history and there's so much literature on it. And sometimes it's very difficult to understand. It's written in difficult language. There's 78 cards. There's meanings for the upright positions. There's meaning for the reverse positions. There's a whole bunch of different reading layouts, the most famous of which is the Celtic cross. But I want this to be a simple start to your journey. I want to be able to arm you with a solid starting point, and you can develop yourself from there. And practice is important. Doing self-readings, doing pretend readings, Come up with a couple of questions. Imagine you're a reader that's somebody's relying on you to give them some answers, and set up some fake questions and then do little readings pretending you're giving advice to somebody else. Other things you can do, and which I do, is I take political issues and try and do readings on the outcomes of political issues that are pertinent to me. Or I do readings for my family. Almost every second day I go through each of my family members and do a little reading on them. And then once you're comfortable with that, then you can go as deep as you feel comfortable with, But my point is to just try and create your own relationship with the tarot and with the deck that you prefer to work with. So let's start by saying there's 4 suits. So you have the cups, which represents emotions. Swords, which has more got to do with logic and decisions. Wands represents values. And then pentacles or coins represents materials. Now, the important thing I need to say is that in each suit represents your journey through life. So the cups represents your emotional journey through life as you grow up and mature, all the way to the end of your life, if you like. Again, the swords is your logical journey. The wands is your journey of values as you mature, and pentacles is your material journey. And then of course we have your spiritual journey, which is represented by the major arcana. But we'll get to the major arcana separately. But let's just go through, the 10 phases that I look at, because there's 10 cards in each suit, excluding the court cards, which is the page, the knight, the king, and the queen. So ignoring those, there's basically 10 cards in each suit. And they are also related to the first 10 cards of the major arcana, excluding the fool, because the fool's card is 0. So every card from 1 to 10. And then again, in a more esoteric and elevated level, the cards from 11 to 20. And then we have another card right at the end, which is the world or universe card, which is the 21st card. So basically, if we have a look at the 10 phases and the 10 cards, the first card, the ace, for instance, the ace, represents you at birth and absolute innocence. So imagine your life path, and let's see how we can make a story of each card number. So as I say, number 1 is like your literal birth. You know nothing except that you need to find a purpose and to survive. How to eat, how to walk, how to talk, that kind of thing. Then card number 2, imagine yourself being 11 or 12. At this point, you see things with innocent eyes. You're feeling some stuff for the first time. You're starting to figure out the rules of life, and you're starting to make plans for your future. It's at this point where little boys often kind of fantasize about becoming pilots and firemen, or girls think about becoming lawyers or a nurse or a doctor. Then the third card, and this is in every suit, okay? Imagine you're in high school, or maybe early into college years, an adolescent as such. You know, that's a time of your life where you feel almost invincible, like you can beat anything. But your emotions are incredibly intense, especially when things go wrong. And when I say when things go wrong, because you feel so invincible, when things do go wrong, it's an intense feeling of disappointment and betrayal. The fourth card represents your first clue that you're not invincible. So that's like having your first bumper bashing or your first big breakup. It's the fourth card represents the clues that life is not perfect. The fifth card I call the chaos and reset card. This is when you realize that, you know, this thing called life is not as easy as you thought. This is when you learn important lessons and realize how naive you've been in your younger life, when you were in high school, in primary school, elementary school. And we get to the sixth card, and I call this the adjustment phase. Okay, you're adjusting now, perhaps in your 20s. You think you have life sorted. You have, you know, better formulated plans, more realistic dreams. You've even had some early victories. And for the first time, you're building memories, stuff that you can look back on with nostalgia. The seventh card, I call the maturing card. And that kind of represents your 30s, you know, from early to mid 30s, when your naivety is leaving you. You start to be able to see through scams, you know, see false people for what they are, figuring out what your true values are, not what like the Instagram values are, if you like. You start to figure out what's real in life and what's fantasy. Start to understand your boundaries. Perhaps, you know, the lane that you were born into. The eighth card, which I call the reality card, you suddenly find yourself with responsibilities. You know, this is kind of your mid to late 30s. Things happen fast. So fast that some days you feel you can't cope. You distance yourself from things you found important. But now I know there's no time for those things. You work hard, you play hard, you make more informed decisions. Your naivety is leaving you. Then the ninth card in each of the suits, I call the fulfillment card. So this represents you late in your career, perhaps in a mature marriage, a long-term relationship, a little middle-aged, a lot wiser. All the hard work is paying off now. You find yourself with all the right stuff around you, the right things, the right people. You're even ticking off your shrinking bucket list. And then we get to the 10th card, and I call it the release card. But it's, you know, 10 is a complex number, being worth both 1 and 10 in numerology. You know, it can be 10, obviously, and then 1, if you take 1 plus 0 is 1. It reduces down to 1. So there's kind of a duality to it. It's both an end and a beginning. It feels heavy, and at the same time, it can feel like a load lifting. It's both looking back and looking forward. And where the 10 is in the reading is really, you know, where you need to figure out which side of the duality you're looking at in the 10. So the point I'm trying to make is don't overthink it, you know. And I did a book search on Amazon on tarot. And as you can see, you know, there's over 50,000 results. And it can be confusing. So I want you to create your own story, to create your own, you know, don't overthink it. Try and create a story out of everything. I'm going to use this as an example, for instance. So think of the tarot as a storyboard to a movie. You know, they always sit down, especially, and the director will have little illustrations stuck up on the board to kind of give direction on how the movie is going to play out, and it gives them a plan on what to shoot first, how the characters must look, and that kind of thing. So the tarot tells an unfolding story, and as you read the first card, it unfolds the next level, and as you read the second card, you know more stuff, and it unfolds the next level, and so you go forward. So you can always, like, knowing this, you know, I now realize that. Now knowing this, I now realize that. You know, these things lead on from one to the next. So this is a really, really simple 3-card past, present, future reading. And I want to use it as an example to kind of illustrate the storyboard element to it. So first of all, and don't worry too much about the meanings of the cards now, because as we go through further episodes, I'm going to go through, you know, each number and then each suit, and then we can distill it down to and make it easy to remember what each card means. Because if you stress right in the beginning about trying to remember the meanings on all the cards, you're never going to get anywhere. So we're going to do it step by step and learn the story of the tarot, and by learning the story, you'll begin to understand and see the meanings in each card intuitively, you know, without having to look it up all the time. And by all means, create your own meanings, you know, the meanings that resonate with you, because it's your relationship with the tarot. Okay, so let's have a look at this simple thing. The Six of Pentacles I kind of summarize as, I have enough so that I can give others. Okay. The Six of Swords, my meaning is there's no turning back, there's only going forward. And then the Hangman is, I need to look at this from a different angle. So let's have a look at the possible story. So the querent is asked, what is my purpose in life? It's a simple but complicated question, and we're using a very, very simple reading, 3 cards. Okay. But let's have a look at the story as it unfolds. So in the past, you can get a clue as to why they're asking, because the past is what's led you here. Okay. So the way I look at it is, the reason you're feeling this way is that you've been feeling like you can give to others but don't know how, you know. So now you've told the querent this, it's kind of illuminated why he's asking the question, what is my purpose in life? And me as a tarot reader, I'm saying, well, the reason you're here is because you're feeling like you can give to others, you know. So now that the querent has understood this, we can move on to the next card, and brings us into the present, which is how they're feeling now. So as I said, the Seven of Swords is a card moving forward, like you can only move forward now. So my answer here would be, to the question how they're feeling now, you can tell them, you know, it's something you must act on to give your life meaning. In other words, he's feeling that he has things to give, and now you're telling him that you know now that there's something to give, and now that you know it, you can only move forward with this knowledge. And then in the future, you know, because now you know this and you know that, what can you tell the person about what they can do with this knowledge now? And my take on this is, you can now move forward in a different way and with a different view of things, because the Hangman is looking at things differently. So just knowing that you can't go back to old ways is already 80% of knowing where you're going. Okay. So yes, it's very simple, but can you see the little story that's developed? And it ties in a lot with what the question is. And as you answer the first question, the next card becomes, the meaning of the next card becomes more apparent. And as you know those 2 cards, the meaning of the third card becomes more apparent. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. And in the next episode, I'm going to go focus specifically on the journey of the cups. Okay. And then we'll go through each suit as we go from there. I hope you enjoyed that, and do like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you again soon.